Last year in South Africa, over 2.8 million animals were slaughtered in the red meat industry, and production outstripped domestic consumption. This critical industry holds untapped potential against the background of rising global demand, offering farmers opportunities for export and growth. Here to discuss the alignment of the sector is Dewald Olivier from RMIS, or the Red Meat Industry Services. Dewald, welcome.
Thank you too.
The red meat industry has a 2030 strategy document. Two elements. What is the 2030 strategy and why is it important?
I think it's very important to understand we operate under 4 pillars. The first one is animal and public health. Second one is market access, inclusive growth and competitiveness and sustainability. And the importance of this is to ensure that obviously we leave a legacy of our industry to our children. But more than that, we know and understand that we're in a specific situation currently where if we don't grow our industry, it's actually bleeding out. It's not the fact that there is a resistance toward red meat, I think, worldwide. We've shown that that is not the case. More people are eating red meat than ever before. The fact is we need to compete with international role players. We need to give a price to our farmers. We need to give a price to our role players that they can farm sustainable. And that's the reason for a Strategy 2030 mainly.
To keep a long-term sustainable industry. The point of traceability. First of all, just talk a bit to me about what is it when we talk about traceability. What's traceability?
At some stage, traceability became a swear word. I think everybody got so tired, and I think still is at this stage a bit tired of the word traceability and how will it be implemented, and there's so many questions with regards to that. But I think in a value chain setup, traceability is actually just a tool for a value chain role player to ensure that the end producer, the end user, utilize and have access to the value chain and understand the product that he or she will be utilizing or consuming. But moreover to the role players, they've got the ability now with the traceability system to engage the consumer at the end. For example, I think one of the biggest things that we miss is that it's a little bit misguided is the fact that a farmer that do not sell, for example, weaners to a feedlot will have the ability to engage through a traceability system with a consumer at the end through an abattoir and say, this is the process that I followed. We've got many role players in our industry that do not actually create weaners or grow weaners for the feedlot system and grow the animals on the veld. And it will also give them the opportunity to say, I've got access to markets locally and internationally with my product.
Now, why did the RMIS specifically decide to create a traceability platform?
So the platform and the aim of the platform would be to allow all players, and there's a specific wording, and that's why we say not a system, but a platform. The platform is based there on that whatever traceability system you are using on your farm, feedlot or abattoir, you've got the ability to play and to share your information on this platform. RMIS, we are a service provider to the value chain and to the industry, and we said from the start, we don't want to hold the information with ourselves. We don't want to create this massive database to have all the information of the role players with us. We would want to allow the traceability systems that the farmers have or the other role players within the value chain to keep the information with them. But once they move animals, once they move one animal from one owner to the other, we want to see that movement. And it's not that we want to see and look at monitors the whole time to see it, but if there's an outbreak of a specific disease or if there's a recall or a problem, then we can go back and say, but listen, there's a problem at this specific farm. One of the biggest things that we saw from this is, for example, if there's a disease specific in an animal that we can only pick up at an abattoir, we can actually trace that back to farm level and alert a farmer sometimes, for example, of a sewage problem that he didn't even know existed on his farm next to an informal settlement. But now we can say, we've got a problem on your farm, please go look somewhere, there's something going on. So the ability to utilize information is actually it's incredible.
I want to take that specific point a bit further. You talked about disease, foot and mouth, has been a problem in South Africa. Where will this fit into your traceability platform?
I think one of the advantages that we will have is that buyers will know where animals come from. And it's not to exclude them. It's actually to understand how to utilize or to care for this animal once it is bought. And to mitigate the risk. I think that's all it's about. We understand that there's a risk with regards to how many animals we have, firstly. We think that we've got a national herd of 13 million cattle, but we don't know, firstly. So we will be able to make better calculations and make better assumptions with regards to what we want to do and where we want to go. But secondly, a buyer has got then the ability to say, there's an animal coming from a foot and mouth disease area, I need to treat it in a specific way. I still want the animal because we need the food. We also need to understand, if we talk traceability, that traceability or FMD itself, it doesn't kill the animals. Our strain, actually the animal is sick for 3 days, it heals and there's no problem. So it's almost as if it's a bit of a political disease for us. And we would then have the necessary information to actually go out to the international market and say, this is what we have, this is how we mitigate the risk on our side. And for the farmers on the ground, this will definitely at the end of the day be to their advantage to say, I protect myself, I've got traceability, I'm not buying in cattle from the outside, I can show you, buyer of my cattle, that I'm a closed off system, for example, or a compartment.
Now let's talk about the players in the value chain coming onto the platform. What is the position?
There is a lot of farmers that have already joined, but if you talk animal-wise, I think one of the biggest or the biggest feedlot in South Africa is already joined, which means that animal number-wise, I think we've got a pretty good take-up at this stage. I think it's going to take time, and I don't think we fool ourselves in thinking that it's going to be a snap of a finger and everybody's going to be on there. What we must understand and realize is this is it's not a must, or it's a free system. It's a voluntary system, and if you want to join, you can join. I just think market access, local and international, will be at the end of the day what you will get from joining this system. And so many times the producer feels that he's left out of this value chain. And once there's market access, I think the value will start push back within this value chain. But we need to pull it. A chain cannot be pushed, it needs to be pulled.
Dewald, livestock welfare, where does that fit into this?
Well, traceability and this platform actually can deal very smartly with it. If we can show the process that's being followed with these animals. Each and every farmer, feedlot, abattoir, we go out of our way to treat animals the best we can. There's 5 freedoms of animals, and there's a manner in which we treat our valuable product. And I think through traceability, and we mentioned the consumer at the end of the day at the back end, I think that's one of the most critical questions that a consumer will ask. Has this animal been treated with the necessary dignity and the process that's being followed and so on? So with traceability, we can put this down and say, this is the known process that was followed. This is the standard on which South African red meat is produced, and we put a stamp of approval on it to say, this is certified South African red meat produced at the highest ethical standards, or with the highest ethical standards. That will definitely not only add value locally, but also internationally.
Dewald, thank you very much. As a consumer, I obviously support this, but I think for the industry as a whole, this is critical, it's needed, and if we want to be known as a premium supplier of red meat, we need to do these things. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.